in black, the dirty, sexy South. With the sixth, are we on six? Yes, sir. With the sixth pick, the dirty, sexy South, if the man can stay out of prison long enough, will be selecting Tom Brady. Now, as I mentioned previously, Tom Brady had a season of seasons last year. That dadgum fool, he threw for 50 touchdowns. That's 50. 4,806 yards in the air. He also rushed for 2 touchdowns on the ground. The man had 52 touchdowns. Okay, that's a lot of touchdowns, let me tell you right now. I don't know what you consider a lot, but the old Humper thinks when you score 52 dadgum touchdowns, you is scoring a lot of touchdowns. Now, if Tom can keep his hand off Gisele Bündchen's ass long enough to show up for practice, I think he'll have another season just like that. So that's a great pick for the man in black. Moving on now, we are at the man with the softest hair in the universe, Mr. Mike Hemmert and Spittin' My Hair. Spittin' My Hair is going to pick a man with interesting hair, to say the least, and that would be Marion Barber III. Guy's got dreadlocks sticking out of his helmet like he's a gosh darn African Chi-Chi man. Marion Barber, he rushed for 975 yards last year, 10 touchdowns. Didn't really get the bulk load of the carries though, as you know. Julius Jones received not only the starting duties there, but also got the majority of the carries. Now, Marion Barber is a goddamn bulldozer, I can tell you that. This dadgum boy can run you over and step on your head and then turn around with a little spin move and kick in the balls just as fast. So I believe this is a great move by Coach Mike Hemmert, making the soft hair a little bit tougher with some dreadlock Rasta hair. Alrighty then. Let's move on now to the Steel Addicts. Coach Cal, Mr. Jeff Calabrese. Perhaps distracted by his wedding coming up in a few short weeks, he is going to pick another dreadlock man, Mr. Steven Jackson. Now, Mr. Steven Jackson was quite injured last year. He only played in 12 games. He did rush for over 1,000 yards and score 5 touchdowns. He did deal most of the year with an injured back and also a torn groin muscle. Now, old Coach Cal's helping that. He got rid of that torn groin muscle so that dadgum guy can run for more yards. I'll tell you that much. Steven Jackson, going to the Steel Addicts. Moving on now, we're to Coach Jack Seitz. Jack Seitz of the Scrappin' Gizzard Necks. Well, the Gizzard Necks are going to make an unprecedented move in the MFL Draft this year. They are going to take the 3rd quarterback in the 1st round. Never happened before in the history of the MFL, but folks, you heard it here first, it's going to happen this year. Coach Jack Seitz is going to select Mr. Tony, who, despite a 50 touchdown season by Mr. Tom Brady last year, had himself one hell of a year. And it went a little overshadowed a bit because, you know, everybody was looking at Tom Brady and saying, wow, this guy's a mutant. But all Tony Romo did was throw for 4,211 yards, 36 touchdowns, and another 2 touchdowns on the ground. Not bad at all. Let me tell you, that's a dadgum good season. I would give my left testicle, shove it right up your ass for a 36 touchdown season in the NFL. I'll tell you that right now. Now, Mr. Tony Romo, he's a little bit like Mr. Tom Brady, because Mr. Tom Brady spent too much time grabbing Miss Gisele Bündchen's ass, and Mr. Tony Romo, he spent a little too much time grabbing Miss Jessica Simpson's ass. If Mr. Tony Romo can keep his hands off Jessica Simpson long enough to show up for practice, I believe he's in for another hell of a season. Making our way now to the bottom of the draft, we are at the 10th pick. With the 10th pick, my good friend, Richard the Hammer Young, Mr. Hammer. Looks like he's running out of picks. All the good guys are gone, right? Not so fast, my friends. There's a dadgum receiver there from the New England Patriots by the name of Randy Moss, and you better believe that old Hammer Time's going to scoop him up. Randy Moss caught 98 balls last year for 1,493 yards and 23 touchdowns. Several of those 23 touchdowns were of the large variety of 60-plus yards or more, which is always good when you scoring in the MFL. Randy Moss appears to be over his younger days with that big old hairdo afro and when he was running over people in the streets and whatnot, and he appears to be getting along with Tom Brady and the rest of his teammates very well and behaving himself. Now, if he's able to do that for another season, I expect some of the similar numbers here. Good pick by the Hammer. Well, we're almost done now. We've made it to the 11th pick in the MFL draft, and we're down to TBG. That gum, Team Bleeding Green. Team Bleeding Green is pretty much going to do what Team Bleeding Green does, and that's kind of make a silly pick. And they're going to pick Clinton Portis with the 11th pick in the MFL draft. Now, Clinton Portis, he's pretty much injured every year and doesn't really run too much, and he'll have a couple good games here and there, but overall, he pretty much sucks the ass. Last year, Clinton Portis ran for 1,262 yards and 11 touchdowns. Coach Brian Daly is hoping he does a little bit better this year, being that he's his first round pick. And that brings us to the end of the first round, the 12th pick in the MFL draft. The Sean Taylors, R.I.P. Mr. Sean Taylor, are going to select another wide receiver, this man by the name of Terrell Owens. Old T.O., that pain in the ass guy, caught 81 balls last year, 1,355 yards and 15 touchdowns. Now this man is a major pain in the ass, as I just stated, but he sure can catch a football and run with it. Now if he can keep his head in the game and stop shoving popcorn down his throat at every chance he gets, I believe he will have a heck of a season. Old Tony Romo chucking him the rock, he'll be doing pretty well. Well, there you go, folks. That's it. That's my guesstimation of estimation of proclamation. The first round of the MFL draft laid out for you here tonight. All 12 picks. So that's what the Humper thinks is going to happen. We'll have to wait till August 28th to find out what really does happen. And you better believe when the real thing goes down, I'll be back here to analyze and gambleize and chandelize the actual MFL draft. Until then, folks, keep your eyes on the prize, your hands on the wheel, and your dadgum butt